Hello everyone, thanks for tuning in today, and today's video is going to be how to install a subfloor over concrete, and this is version 2.0. In this basement we did a spruce 5/8 tongue and groove plywood, which is really good. In this video I added, maybe a few more tips and tricks. In this one especially, we added a little bit of time-lapse footage. So sit tight and enjoy the video. Thank you very much for watching, and don't forget to like and subscribe, and we'll see you soon. Enjoy the video. Thank you. We're going to be using the Delta mat like we did before. There it is. In this basement we need a 8-foot roll and a 6-foot roll, and in this basement we're going to be use tongue and groove 5/8 spruce, great plywood. This resists water and moisture a little bit better than the OSB. So we're going to get started, and I'll do a time lapse on this and point out any little tips and tricks. So we're here ready to do our subfloor, and we're going to be using the 5/8 tongue and groove spruce today, which is a better product than the OSB. This is what we use. It's the Delta MS. This is the membrane for the subfloor, and it's a great product. This is used for foundations, but we use this because it's a larger roll, and it's a great product. It's the same as any other manufacturer. They all have more or less the same, thickness and stuff like that, and it's safe to use indoors. I'm gonna lay it out flat, and then I'll show you. When we lay this, we're gonna put the cup side up and the dimple down against it. You can see if any moisture or anything, humidity, moisture, any type of water gets in here, it's raised about 1/2 inch off of the floor. We use this because we can get longer sheets, bigger rolls, and it's more cost effective for one, and two, there ends up being less seams. The first roll that I'm going to be using is going to be the 8-foot roll, which is this one, and I'll do a time lapse of laying it out and stuff like that. First thing I'm going to do is sweep up the floor, make sure that everything's cleaned up and ready to go, and then I'm going to start rolling out the Delta mat on the floor. I just finished rolling out the first length of the Delta mat, and I'm just going to do one roll to make it nice and easy. Now I'm going to grab plywood and I'm going to place it on. I'm going to keep the plywood about 1 inch away from the concrete so that there's no chance of any moisture getting close to it. And I'm just going to dry lay them first. Once I have a couple dry laid, I'll show you. And then I have to just cut out that little jog there for where the pier is in the foundation. So this is the most important start. Start and part, right? So I laid down 3 sheets, lined them up. The most important thing is stay at least 1 inch away from the concrete. You take a look at that. So the membrane went against the foundation, which is cool. And we want to make sure that our plywood's not touching the concrete. It's at least 1 inch away. So all I did carefully, right, lay down 3 sheets. I notched around the foundation pier there, and that's it. Now, I made sure that all the seams are nice and tight. Nothing's nailed or screwed down. So the seams are nice and tight. That piece, I'll just go and put in after. But that's the start. So what I'm gonna do now that those seams are nice and tight, I'm gonna take a look at the front edge here, all the way along. You can use a string line or a chalk line to make sure that it's nice and straight. I'm just gonna put my eye on it just to double check. But if all those sheets and those corners are close, nice and tight for now, then it's good to go. And that's it. So I'm gonna start pinning them down. On the first row, when we do the first row, the most important thing is you pin the entire first row down. And I mean pin, meaning, you know, fasten it down. Once that one's down, then we can start sheeting the rest. The membrane isn't gonna move so much. And it's just much easier when we put the next sheet in. That back row is so solid, and that's going to be our start point. It's not going to move anywhere as long as you pin the first row down. So we're going to get out our drill and we're going to start pinning this down. I wanted to show you the screws that we're using. We mentioned it in the other video, but just to show you, okay, these are concrete fasteners. Now this particular brand is UCAN. It's a #2 Phillips with the flat head screw on the top, and these here, very solid, great screw. I'm just going to use my DeWalt impact driver with a #2 Phillips head, and I'm going to be using my hammer drill. Now this hammer drill, it's SDS, so it's really easy to use and drills a lot faster than any other drill. If you're using a regular hammer drill and stuff, if you don't have one of these SDS, you see how the bit just popped in there? All I do is pull down the collar and pull the bit out, and that's it. Now this is SDS. SDS works a lot better than any other type of drill because it's hammering a different way than a normal hammer drill would. So SDS, if you don't have one of these, rent one. I'm sure a friend has one. And that screw is 1/4 inch thick. We're using a 3/16 concrete bit. So that's what we're using, just to let you know. Once we drill in the hole for the screw and it's ready to go, what I want to do is I want to inject a little bit of silicone. This is just regular clear silicone. And I'm gonna drill the hole out, and then I'm going to just put this in the hole and inject maybe 1 or 2 squeezes of silicone. That way it can seal around the membrane and the screw, so, you know, again, no moisture comes up. I tacked down the first row of plywood, okay, and if you can see, I left like a 1/8 gap for expansion, contraction. So let's mark our fasteners now. Since this is all tacked in and everything's ready to go, we're gonna mark our fasteners. In the previous video, like I showed before, you know, we use 19-inch centers. So I'm just going to string this all the way along, okay, and I'm going to show you where the 19-inch centers, when we're drilling out the holes on the front of the sheet, because we don't want to mess with the groove, we're going to keep the holes down about 1.5 or 1.25 inches. Okay, 1.5 is better. So let's take a look at the tape. We have our 16-inch centers. we have our 2-foot mark. In between there, you see that diamond there? That's where we're going to be marking and drilling our fasteners. To go 16-inch centers on something like this, it's just overkill. It's not necessary, okay? Now, if you want to get away with doing less fasteners, that's entirely up to you. But the 19-inch centers work great on the 8-foot long side of the sheet. So I'm going to mark. So we'll take a look at our diamond. And we're just going to mark. So, and then you'll see as you go along the tape, okay, there's our other diamond. So it's more or less 38 3/8. Okay, so I'm going to continue marking like that everywhere where you see the little diamond. That's your 19-inch center. Okay, so I'm just going to mark it up so. And I'm going to continue marking all the top of these sheets like that. And that's a guide. So then when I'm doing the full body, you know, I don't have to mark them. You don't have to be so exact. The top is a good guide to keep it. So when I do the whole body, I'm not going to measure the whole thing. Now, that's the top of the sheet. The end of the sheet on the 4-foot side, okay, we're just going to do 16-inch centers. So here's our foot end of the sheet. And I'm just going to hook my tape on the top, okay, and I'm going to mark 16 like so, the next 16, okay. When I drill and fasten the end of the sheet, again, you want to stay away more or less 1.25 inches, to 1.5 inches. You can mark it, you don't have to. If you can do it by eye, then it's great. So I already drilled these out and fastened them. That's how you fasten along the 4-foot side. Now, if you want, you can get away with on the 4-foot side, but it's up to you. You can pin one here in the center of the sheet. If you pin it in the center, guaranteed, you're gonna say, oh my God, it's not holding or it's not flush or something's weird. Just do 16s. Don't cut corners, especially if you're doing this on your house. Do 16s along the 4-foot end of the sheet. Let's take a look at our progress. So I just fastened the entire first row. I drilled everything out and vacuumed out the holes. And I vacuumed the holes out so that we get rid of some of that dust, the concrete dust, for the silicone to go right into the hole, seal up the membrane for the screw. Now that that's done, I'm going to start my next row of Delta mat. This one's all fastened down solid. In our last video, I didn't really show how we install the tongue and groove plywood. I mentioned that you can use a 2x4 as a tapping block and, you know, a good hammer and stuff. I'm using a 10-pound sledgehammer. This is the way we sheet floors in the house, and a 2x4 so I don't damage the front part of the sheet, right? And when I do it, I always start on one corner, which would be the corner that has no sheet on first. So I'll show you how I do it. At first I just kick the sheet in so that, you know, it goes in. Some sheets slide easier than others, right? But I'm gonna give it a tap here, and then I can see that that corner is in. So I'm gonna work my way towards the middle and the opposite end of the sheet. I'm gonna check here for sure to see if, you know, the tongue's ready to go into the groove. It seems like it. Just in case, maybe just release the rear screws. If you can see, sometimes basins take a little finagling, right? Just a hair. And that's it. If you can't kick it in like so, then you're gonna need to use a tapping block. So the sheet is in. It helps a lot if you have somebody helping you. So you're on the front tapping the sheet in with the sledgehammer and your 2x4 tapping block, and somebody's standing on the seam where the groove and the tongue are going to meet. That way they can keep the sheet straight. Just in case if you have a lot of humps in the base, some sheets come nice and they just tap in like the way you kick it in with your foot. Others, you gotta caress it a little. Okay folks, well, this subfloor is pretty much all finished up. So I didn't film the whole job. I'll take pictures after just to show you. But everything's pinned down. The reason why I say this video is how to install a subfloor on top of concrete using tongue and groove plywood is because on the other video that I made, I missed a few things. I really had no intentions of making that video. I just took pictures and then I thought, you know what? Maybe we should make a video to show everybody how we do it. But this is done. So this is the 2.0 version. You can see that we injected silicone in all the holes before we put it in our Tapcons or our concrete fasteners. We vacuum out the hole. So in that last video I didn't show you. And just to show you, I think now, we've changed things a little bit. In the center and the body of the sheet, okay, we're only putting one screw, as you can see, just in the center. And those are at 19-inch centers. And I just take a look from the top, and that's it. The first row, we pin it the way we pin it to prep it all so it doesn't move as we're, you know, installing the sheets. Well, you can probably do the same thing as I did there. So in the center, it just takes, you know, 1, 2, 3, 4 screws. If you find that it's spongy or anything like that, you can always, you know, put in another screw. But this is the way it should be done. You can put more screws if you want. The most important thing is always along the top of the sheet, okay, and along the 4-foot. And you don't put any on the back side of the sheet. And this is actually the sheet and the section where the tongue is, okay? This is the groove. When I do it, I just start, you know, with the tongue, like so, against the foundation. I leave my 1-inch space, you know, try to put the Delta mat, you know, close to the foundation, and that's it. As long as you have an overlap, like this is a good seam here, there's an overlap, that's at least about 20 inches, not more. I wouldn't go less than 20 inches, and then stagger the sheets like so, and you can see whatever you cut off, let's say to use on this side, this is the factory edge, okay? Save the rest of this sheet, and you can probably use it on that side with the factory side. So it's a wrap. Hope it wasn't too long. I'll just add some pictures. Hey everyone, thanks for watching. Don't forget to check out our other videos and enjoy.